just really fell in love with the feel of it. Found the Vibram Disc Golf Collectors Group.
Bring all that knowledge, all that perspective into the brand, and tell the brand.
Quality versus quantity, I think, is a big deal for me.
And I'm hunting these things down. I'm on the page. I'm stalking other Facebook pages.
What is going on, Vibram Disc Golf Collectors Group? This is Kep, the Vibram Collector. We are here for podcast number 6. I think I got the number right this week. 6. All right. This week we have with us Evan Jones. Evan Jones is one of the sponsored players for Vibram Disc Golf. This guy has had an awesome year so far. He's coming off a recent win just a few weeks ago. So we're going to spend some time with him tonight, talk to him about his experience over the past couple of years. I was lucky enough to meet Evan briefly at the Vibram Birdie Bash World Championships a couple of years ago, so I'll sure reminisce about that as well. So, Evan, thanks for joining us. We also have directly above me here, right there, Tom Bubbs Neal. Not sure if Vibram Mike and Brian Prokop will be able to join us, but they may pop in later tonight. So, Evan, thanks again for coming and talking with us tonight, man. We're super excited to get to know you a little better here about how your year has been going. But why don't you start out and kind of tell everybody where's your hometown and where you're from?
Right now I live in Avon, Colorado. It's basically the town at the base of the Beaver Creek Ski Resort. So, I spend a lot of time snowboarding and then a lot of time playing disc golf. Got a course about 100 yards from my house and keeps me in practice.
That's awesome, man. So you live there your whole life, or is this just an area that you moved to recently?
No, I was born in Colorado. I grew up down in Denver and moved up here 11 years ago.
Okay.
So I've been up here for a little while.
Yeah, sounds like it. How long have you been in the disc golf scene? Is disc golf been something that you've been doing for quite some time? I mean, looks like you've been running tournaments at least for the past 4 years or so.
No, really, I started about 6 years ago, just after I got my dog, and I basically just needed something to do to, stay interested while I was taking him for walks, and, brought a couple discs out to a course, and I actually played my first tournament that year, and I showed up with like a DX Aviar and a DX Valkyrie, and I lost the Valkyrie in the water on the first shot and just like finished DFL. It was just like the worst experience of my life. And I ended up joining the local club and, getting a little more into it with how the game's actually played.
That's cool, man. So you started out with the old DX plastic and walking the dog. This dog must have needed some serious exercise, man. What kind of dog was this?
Black Lab Border Collie.
Okay. All right. Good deal. I've got a Border Collie mix. She is wide open. I mean, if she doesn't go for a mile or two walk every day, she's pissed. It's not something that she's happy about at all. So no, I understand that completely. So you were throwing the DX plastic. How long did it take you to get into some real discs and actually start getting a little bit more competitive with it?
It probably took me another 8 months to a year before I actually got more than 5 discs in my bag. And, I'd say my first Birdie Bash was, I believe the first year they were running it when they were giving away tester team positions for the winners. I actually still throw the lace that I got at that Birdie Bash.
That's awesome. That was old school firm, so that was a while ago. I'm assuming it was firm back then, anyway.
No, I got a medium, so it feels like it's firm, but
yeah,
it's,
I hear you. So with the you were a big fan of the Birdie Bashes early on, huh?
Yeah, I really liked the rubber, and then they were having them at these amazing courses I had never played. Bucksnort and Phantom Falls, and they're two very highly rated courses on disc golf courses. I believe they were top 10 in the past 2 or 3 years. So,
Definitely. Yep.
That's cool.
I got into playing those, and once I played one, I realized I really liked the discs, and I just sought out more birdie bashes. I think I played 3 or 4 that year, and I kept working for that tester team spot, but I never won it. So.
So you had to go around the long way and say, screw it, I'm going to be sponsored instead, which is way better than the tester spot, man.
Well, I mean, it's the sponsorship was just it was just lucky. I mean, how else can I say it? It's they have everybody to choose from, and I'm really humbled to be part of the team.
That's huge, man. So I know that like I said, we crossed paths at the Vibram Birdie Bash World Championships back in the summer of 2015, and I was looking at PDGA, and it looks like that was your first year of kind of running pro. So were you sponsored by Vibram back then, or is this something that just recently happened for you?
No, I was on the Vibram Street team. I'm sure you guys remember that. It was like a little contest they had, and since then I'd just been throwing a lot of Vibram. I had really gotten into putting with Vibram in my mid ranges. I wasn't really too much into the drivers at that point, but the mid ranges and the ridges were my bread and butter. So I stuck with them for a long time, and
still bagging those. Is the ridge still your go-to putter?
Still my go-to. I do have a firm Summit in there, a really old school pre-PDGA that I do for long tail winds or maybe a few step putts, but generally a ridge.
Okay. How many ridges do you bag typically? Are you a heavy putter guy, or do you bag a bunch of drivers?
I bag 3 ridges and the Summit. One specifically for driving, one specifically for putting, and then one for really windy putting that's specifically overstable. It's the flight path in the back of the crack there, the butt crack run, I should say.
Yeah. There you go, the butt crack run. Are you a big fan of the newer runs? Are you bagging mostly new runs that are out now, or are you kind of a mix of the old stuff? I know you said you had that one old Summit.
I'm pretty old. I throw tracks in a sense still. I don't bag almost any of the new molds. I do have one medium notch, and no, other than that, I don't bag any of the new fairway drivers yet. Mainly just because I have to get my hands on them. I've really liked the Ascent and the track, and I've been working with them a long time, and it's hard for me to switch away from them.
Yeah, I understand that, man. Are you?
Respect that, yeah.
Yeah, are you doing the small number Ascent or the large number Ascent?
I actually have one of each in my bag. My small number is a bit straighter, and my large number is more overstable.
Yeah.
So with those discs being as old as they are, I mean, how has your experience been with the stability and those discs holding up over time?
The only reason I've ever had to replace it is because I've lost one. I've never lost one due to wear. Like I said, I'm still bagging the original lace I had 4 years ago, and it's seen its dinks and gouges, but it still throws true. So
that's awesome, man. I love to hear that. And Brian, I saw that you just jumped on. Thanks for joining us, dude. I know that's got to be music to your ears as well, hearing that the length of time that he's had these discs in his bag, man. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. He must not hit as many trees as I do.
Yeah, that's fair. So
Colorado's got to be rough on discs, though. I say that's not the rolling plains of Kansas. You guys got some terrain out there to mess up a disc if you happen to get unlucky.
Yeah, the ski resorts definitely beat up the discs a little bit. It's rough terrain for sure. It's hiking terrain. So.
Yeah, man.
So you probably have some serious leg strength on you. You know, around here, most of our courses are flat. I take the wife and kids to a course that's got a little hole, you know, a little bit of hills. You know, everybody's bitching. Oh, this course is too hard. It's the same holes. It's just the hills kill us, man. So you're probably used to all that stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, generally, I actually I had ankle surgery in March, so I didn't actually have a strong season this year. I didn't get a lot of snowboarding in, or really any. It happened the first day of the first run of the season. I lost
Oh
three
man.
tendons in my right ankle, and I basically missed my whole season and just got back to throwing again. Early May there.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it looks like, man. I mean, you had 2 wins this year, so I mean, for having a bum ankle at the beginning of the year, that's a pretty solid year, I would think, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I'm never complaining on the course. I'm always happy to be out there. A win's just a bonus. So.
I hear you, man. That's the way that disc golf is. So another thing I kind of thought was funny is you said that you missed your season, but then you immediately referenced that you got no snowboarding in. So dude, you must take this snowboarding thing serious too, man. Are you pretty serious snowboarder, not just a casual guy then?
Yeah, I put in 80 days a year for the past 11 years. Minimally 80 days a year. So, I spin on the park jumps, I hit the rails, I do all that, but it's.
Are you doing anything competitive on the snow too?
No, I'm not competitive on the snow tour. Those guys are crazy.
I hear you. Well, I would imagine that some of the folks out there hearing that you're doing half pipes and spinning on rails and stuff, I'm sure that, I know me personally, I'm not doing that. I tried snowboarding one time, and I was a pretty decent downhill skier. Tried snowboarding one time, I was like, give me the skis. I was like, I'll take the skis.
You got to commit to 3 days.
3 days is the commitment
doing
time.
2 different things. Was that?
He said you got to commit for 3 days to get it down. He said.
Yep. I'm the exact opposite as you, Chad. I tried skiing, and the whole idea of my feet doing different things, I was not happy with that. I want to lock them in, and then just pretty much toes and heels. And Evan's right; it takes about 3 days. I had a pair of motocross bumper shorts, kind of like hockey breezers. After my first couple times falling down by couple hundred, you're walking with a walker for like a week or two. You're just like, I'm never doing this again, but you get the bug. You go back out, and I'm like, well, I'm going to get some extra padding this time. I know I'm going to be on my tailpipe more than average. And yeah, it's fun to do, man.
That's good stuff, man. I love hearing that. I love the snow, but I don't get to see a whole lot of it here. Are you throwing in the winter, Evan? Are you getting any snow rounds in, or did they close down the courses over by you?
We only have one permanent course in the winter. It's 25 miles away.
That's a drive.
It's a decent course though. It's kind of like my home course. It's the Eagle course. It's where I play tags and doubles every week. It's just playing in the snow is a whole different beast. Maybe on a nice day, but generally if it's snowing, I'd rather be on the mountain. So.
I hear that. Stay on top of the snow instead of trudging through the snow, right?
Absolutely.
That's fair.
Evan, are you right or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
So the tendons were removed from your plant foot then?
Yep.
Wow.
And not removed. They're just repaired.
Oh, okay.
Three tore, one partial tear, 2 full tears, and then they just did surgery through the Stedman Clinic, and had me back up in about 2 months.
Have you noticed any change in your form or your X step or even your plant foot approach?
Yeah, I've definitely lost 50, 75 feet on my throw altogether. Wow. But it's not that damaging because I'm still reaching 475 ish. So
wow.
No.
So
You lost 50 to 75 feet, and you're like, but I'm still hitting 475. Like, that's not internet distance. Like, you were legit a 550, 560 before an injury.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's nice, man.
I give
That
up.
that lace has got to be helpful with that, though, right? Having that disc that you're familiar with, that you know that you can bomb out like that.
Actually, my really beat up Solace is my bomber.
You know, it's funny, man.
Ben said that.
Yeah, Ben's been
Those
talking about a
old.
beat up Solace, and Vinny was talking about watching him throw this Solace that almost flew like an unlace.
Yeah, mine definitely hyzer flips up and it rides a long time, but it gets stable. It's what I was throwing in the distance competition down at the Rocky Mountain State Games there as well.
How did you do in that? How did you do in that competition?
I took third place in that.
Okay.
What was the distance?
My best distance out there was 166, but in the final round I was only able to hit 144. We were thrown into a headwind, so meter. Sorry, yeah. Um, but I believe 175 meters won the distance.
Okay.
And
So I mean, you're still talking 498 feet, give or take, right?
I was just doing the calculations.
Yep.
Something like that. I mean, I just did 3 feet, which I know is a little less. I think it's what 3.3 technically, right, or something.
Did you say 167?
166 for me, yeah.
166. That's
just over 500 feet. I'm thinking
544.
into a headwind. That's solid, dude.
No, the 166 was in a left to right tailwind.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it was begging for distance.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for a guy that's going to throw a lace out there, or the Solace out there, rather, let it turn up like that. So you got the first place finish at Rocky Mount State Games. How was the competition out there? Did you have a tight squeeze, or was it a pretty easy go for you?
I showed up the day before, got a round in right before the rain hit. One practice round with just a couple locals who were there. Actually, a guy taking his two sons to play their first round ever, and he had him throwing a Blizzard Ape for his first disc.
Oh my god!
And there's quite a few water holes, but I gave him a putter to throw to putt with for the day. One of my ridges to putt with for the day. It was just my driving ridge, but the kid had fun. He lost his disc.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. It's funny that you bring that up because my son actually has a Blizzard Ape and used to carry a Blizzard Ape because, man, I didn't know any better. I just knew that, hey, I need to get him lighter weight discs, and we've had that disc forever now. But now that he's got a little bit more strength, he'll sidearm it, but it's still a dang meat hook. The thing just stops and just falls out. But I recently took one of his buddies with us disc golfing, and I learned my lesson. I said, you know what? I'm going to listen to what everybody's been saying. I'm going to listen to the problems I've had. I gave the kid an Ibex that weighed 146 grams, and I gave him a Summit that weighed 151 grams. And this kid was crushing it. He got a field ace from like 120 feet. I mean, just was throwing that Ibex on a laser and had never played before. And I'm like, okay, and he was having fun. If I'd have given him a Blizzard Ape or a Solace, even if it was 127 grams, he'd have been miserable. So that brings up the question. I know Tom's wondering, what weights are you normally throwing?
He throws heavy. I could tell.
I throw some heavy. Mostly for my distance, I'm throwing, max weight 174.
All right.
I do have some 167 O laces, both medium in my bag that are great. They're actually more stable than anything I've thrown otherwise. I don't know if they're.
Is that the first time that the O-Lace came out? Is that the run that you're bagging, or which run was it? Do you recall?
I could go grab them.
We're not going to be mad at you. If you want to go grab your bag, we'll take a break. Hell, I may find some interesting music to play in the background. We can definitely
There we
make that
go.
work.
Give me some elevator music.
Let me see if I can find something here. I know I've got music on this computer somewhere. Where's the you know what I should have had open is the Spotify. The Spotify is what I should have had open. I don't know if Spotify is going to be on my standard here. You know what I really wanted to have was the Price is Right music. That's what I'm going to load up. I'll have that ready for next time. Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. You know that one.
So
All
this
right.
guy, I believe this is the disc I got at Vibram Birdie Bash World Championships. Was on LA's. This guy is 171 medium, and then I have my kind of pond stained up, beat up O-lace.
I was just going to ask if you wash your discs or not.
Yeah.
I never wash my discs. I lost this in the pond for, I don't know, 2 months. I did clean this. This is as good as I really could get it.
Wow.
This is the most stable disc in my bag by far. It got extremely flat in the water, and it was a medium. It feels firm now. But yeah, they're just both the standard run, I believe. Just flight plate on the back. Nothing special about them.
Yeah, with those colors though, and if it doesn't have the numbers next to the flight plate, I believe that's the first time the O-Lace came out. If it doesn't have the plus and minus on the left and right of the flight plate, I believe that's the first time the O-Lace ran.
Yeah, that's correct. And they don't have them.
Yeah, that's the same O-Lace. Well, right now I'm not carrying any drivers. I'm trying to get my game back up, but that's the same O-Lace I carry, and I have a 157 and a 165, and you're right, they're crazy. They're fun though. They'll glide forever. One thing that I was sitting there, I was curious about. I don't want this to come off the wrong way. Obviously, I'm an older guy to you. You look pretty young, man, but you say you've been playing for 6-7 years now. Did you start as a teenager or something?
No, I'm actually I'm 31 and 3 weeks.
Okay, you just have the baby face then. That's all that is.
It's always been that way,
That's all right. So one question I wanted to ask you, with disc golf, obviously everybody would love to do disc golf full time, and it sounds like that you stay pretty involved with snowboarding. What type of profession are you doing, and how does that impact your disc golf career?
So living in a resort community, we're very customer service based.
Okay.
I currently work as a chauffeur up here.
Right.
We drive Yukon XL Denali's around and take wealthy clients to their destinations.
Sweet, man. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Heck yeah. Plus with where you're living, you're not gonna. There's just certain things that you have with resort communities that you take what you can get on that, And there's looking at what you have with Vibram, man. I'm sitting here, I'm wondering, with your disc golf career and what you had on the PDGA, you had your first open tour in 2015, or your first open event in 2015. Was that something that you just up and decided, hey, I need to go pro because I'm crushing these guys and amateurs, or is that something that you got kind of persuaded to do?
So 2015, I was playing advanced, and I basically took top 3 in every single event in the state. And, the Flying Eagle Open was my home tournament, the first time we were running it, and kind of my debut into Open. I just played World Championships. I felt like I didn't really need to go back and win that. I know a lot of the young kids now want to be the young champion and then the pro champion. And
right.
I got 300 pieces of plastic in my room, and it's just cluttering the place up. I can't imagine staying amateur for longer and having more. But basically, once it gets to a point where you feel like you have a bad round, I guess, and you're still taking like decent finishing positions, it didn't become very fun. And
Yeah, that's fair. You gotta have some competition out there, man. If you don't feel the pressure, the reward's not as sweet, right? The reward is sweet, when you make that final putt on 18 to win the damn round. I mean, that's when it's the sweetest, I would think, right?
Absolutely, and now stepping up to pro, I'm playing with guys like, Eagle and JC and Rob Nichols and Joe Revere, and these, awesome rated guys, sponsored players that are just, I have so much respect for them, and I'm learning a lot from them, and I've seen a good increase in my game from it, just from learning from all those guys. So.
Who are some of the other locals in your area? Some of the other pros, are those guys local to you, so you're seeing them on a regular, or are these just cats that you've learned and met up with over the years of touring?
They're the Colorado, basically, tournament players. Eagle McMahon.
Yeah.
But JC Kester, he's a sponsored Disc Craft Pro, has probably the biggest thumber you've ever seen. Joe Revere, probably one of the highest rated, 1029 or something like that rated player. I mean, he's been crushing the Colorado scene for a long time until Eagle showed up. Rob Nichols, another 1,000 rated player, also down in the Denver area. Just guys that always frequent the tournaments that I'm at and that I'm consistently playing against. There's quite a few I'm not mentioning as well.
Sure.
There's a lot of healthy competition in Colorado.
That's awesome, man. We've talked about, to a couple different people over the past couple of weeks, some of the other Vibram players, and like Casey Lee was telling us last week that the scene in Charleston is disappointing, right? And you hate to hear something like that, when you've got somebody with so much talent that could be running some, going and doing really well in some tournaments. They can't even find tournaments to play. So doesn't sound like that's an issue for you then.
Oh, the Colorado scene's almost competitive just to compete. Like, tournament registration fills up in minutes, and then you're stuck on wait lists for God knows how long if you even make it in. Walk up is almost non-existent. So,
wow. Well, I was looking, man. I mean, you've been crushing it since September of 2014. Other than 1 point dip in November, your score has gone steadily up every single time the ratings have been coming out, man. How does that make you feel? I mean, you got to be proud about that.
It just small steps. All I can do is play golf. I can only hope I get better with time, and I guess that's happening now. And I know it won't always be going up, but I'm always happy when it is. So.
What are your thoughts on where you're sitting right now? Do you feel like 975 is kind of the golf that you're playing, or are you able to play some 1,000 rated rounds on a regular basis?
Well, I at the Rocky Mountain State Games right there, I actually got my highest rated round this year at 1046, and peak one last week, or sorry, not last weekend, but 2 weeks ago, I had back-to-back 1,000 rated rounds and then a 970.
Awesome, man.
I know I'm capable of it. When I shoot a 970, I don't really feel good about my round. I know I can do better, but consistency is always tough.
Where do you find you're most consistent? Are you better in your? I mean, obviously you've got a bomb for an arm, but how do you feel your accuracy is with that distance?
It's always about putting, I would say.
Smart answer.
Throw it within 30 feet of the basket, and I'll make it 85% of the time. It's as much as one can hope for.
That's solid, man.
I would say I'm fairly consistent with my throws. Especially when I disc down a little bit, work into my tracks and my ibex a little bit, then I can, really, really focus into lines better instead of just trying to throw hard.
What are you typically pulling the track out for? How are you using that disc right now?
So I have two in my bag. One is very understable and one is decently overstable. My understable one is this kind of sunset one here. It's I don't know if you guys can see those numbers or not.
I think you got that disc from me.
I believe I might have.
That's awesome.
And let's see, my other track is this orange gym.
Ooh,
It's 174 medium.
nice watermelon.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's nice. That's nice.
It's definitely orange because I can't see red. I am colorblind, so I try and stay with pretty bright colored discs.
Me too, man. Me too. I got the colorblind glasses, and they helped a little bit, but it just wasn't what I was hoping for. I was hoping it would be like What Dreams May Come, that movie with Robin Williams back in the day when he goes to heaven, and it's like everything's all crazy, trippy out. I was hoping that's what the world would look like, but apparently it's not that colorful, but that's okay. So, man, one thing that I wanted to ask you about, and not that it's a problem, but what's your thoughts on these new fairways? You're not bagging any of the new fairways other than that one notch you said. So is it something that you just didn't feel they fit in your bag, or what was it? Or you're just too comfortable with what you already have?
I actually I lied. I do have a vamp in my bag.
There you go.
The third run or whatever, not on top, but on the back. This is my backhand roller disc, and I love it.
How far can you roll that thing, man? I've been trying to get a backhand roller down for the past couple of weeks. I go out, and every time I do it, my kids are like, "What was that?" And I was like, "I was trying to do it on purpose, okay? It's supposed to flip over and roll." It doesn't quite
with like
work.
a steady 5 to 10 mile an hour right to left hand wind, I can probably get it 400 feet.
Nice, man. That's awesome.
Oh.
So how far is it in the air, though, before it's hitting the ground and actually starting its roll for you?
Probably only 75 or 100, and it's probably only 15 feet high at its apex.
Okay, so that's probably my problem.
You're getting
I'm probably putting it up in the air too high on mine then. I think that's where I'm doing things wrong.
I just throw it as hard as I can, dead flat, and it just a little bit high, and it just tips right into it and goes forever.
That's okay. All right, so I have to try that then. I'll just grab the vamp and give it a fling. Tom, you roll it all? I know you say you don't have a whole lot of distance. Are you a roller? I haven't got the roller thing down yet, man, but I need to, I think.
I'm in your boat. I practice the roller as much as I can. I go for more probably a traditional unlace or an onyx to get my roll out. And same thing. I'm practicing it a bunch, but it always gets squirrely at the end. I can get it out 75, 100 to the ground. I can put about 200-300 on the roll, but then when it loses all of its speed, then it's like a notch. I mean, it's like after it loses all of its steam, it goes 100 feet the wrong direction, and it's like, well, that didn't. I'd love to lay the thing to the ground and have it roll out of steam and then just die. So
that would be perfect world.
Yeah.
Are you a roller? Are you a roller as well, Brian? Have you ever rolled them? Put them out there?
I only throw a roller on 2 holes in all the courses I've played here. So, and it's a roller every time. One of them is at Blue Lake, which was the final round of the PDGA World Championships in 2014, hole 1. If you want to go watch the YouTube video, that's the one hole I roll on, and the other one is just a local hole. Otherwise, I don't, and it's not because I can't do it. It's because I don't really know when it's a good try. Like, when am I supposed to?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask is, Evan, when you roll, is it because the terrain it's suitable for it? Like, there's just not a lot of rocky stuff to get in the way? Or is it like low ceiling that you're trying to get down and under? Or
no, it's rough terrain for sure. I do forehand rollers and backhand rollers. Generally, I use them as scramble shots, usually when I'm more afraid of like forehanding or backhanding a tree in my swing, which I've been semi-synonymous with doing. Uh, but I mean, my discs here, they get a little beat up. I'm not sure if you can see this.
Yeah, you
There's
can see it.
a nice
Yeah.
little
Oh,
cut out
wow.
of the notch there, and
Yeah.
then the rim is just a little torched. But
Yeah.
this is also my distance soles, and it's beat up because I use it for forehand rollers. But I've probably boiled this disc 3 or 4 times now to return it to where I want it, and just work it in again.
I know Jeff Laney's gonna love hearing that, man, because when the first podcast we had with him, he talked about, hey, heat it up, it's gonna go back, and I know that that's always been something that we talk about in the group, but I just love hearing people say that they did it, because the plastic throwers out there are like, whatever, that's not real. It is real, man. You got people doing it all the time. That's killer, man. What
It's funny. Sorry. I was going to say, you guys, if you follow any type of disc golf coverage, you probably saw the Jomez video of Macbeth smashing that like 487-foot wedgie, and you look at this wedge in that basket, it's like that thing is destroyed. And honestly, I can't help but thinking to myself, like, I could boil that out. I mean, it's toast for the round, but I'm not throwing that disc away. I'll bring it home. I'll put some boiling water, place it face up on a table. Like, that disc ain't gone, but that destroyer for him, that is, and he's got boxes. I'm not worried about him losing a disc, but.
Yeah, well, if you listen to the commentary on that video, he actually throws it on the next hole to make sure that it's okay. And you can watch. Yeah, he throws it on the next hole. Like
to see if it's safe for the tournament. I didn't realize that. But
I only saw the clip. I didn't see the full video.
Yeah, I have to watch that back.
Because Macbeth and someone else are commentating the whole thing, and he actually talks about, I actually threw it the next hole just to make sure it was still flying okay. So
of course he did.
That's awesome. And it was probably all wobbly, and it still flew perfect. So we haven't actually talked about this. You said that you kind of got lucky with how you got sponsored by Vibram. Can you tell us kind of how that story progressed and how that actually signing the dotted line, or however, I don't even know how the sponsorships works, if you have to actually sign stuff or what, but how did that whole thing progress for you?
I'd probably say it was just I was playing a tournament with Mitch, and it was actually apparently the tournament he was retiring at. It was the Snow Mountain Challenge, and we were on final card on the final round, top card on the final round together, and he said he watched me take a particularly brutal 7 on a hole, and he said it just didn't phase my attitude at all. And he said it really, really meant a lot to him, because he said he was dinking putts and screaming at himself and, not happy. So, I guess I was just I just had a positive attitude at the right time. And, honestly, I have a positive attitude all the time. You'll never really see me angry on a course, but it's, I was just lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So did you feel like the experience at the Vibram Birdie Bash World Championships, do you feel like that strengthens your love for Vibram quite a bit, like it did for me?
It was already pretty rock solid at that point. Steve Dodge has been coming up to Vail like every year to run the GoPro games, and so I get to see Steve every year, and then a mix of the Vibram pros. I've seen Vinnie Miller both years, and Sean Jack and Chris Dietzel and Chase.
And this is while you're on street team, right?
Yeah, this is just while I'm on street team, and I just show up and help them set up the event, and do what I could while I was there and before the competition, and just kind of hung around and played rounds with people. And yeah,
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I know for me, I really liked the rubber, and then I fell in love with the Vibram Disc Golf Collectors Group.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I hosted, was the tournament director of my own Birdie Bash. Just the no pressure concept of that type of structure with the tournament. Everybody had fun. Like everybody came back. People were coming back. They're like, I have no points, but that's okay. I ran it anyway. Because you just go for it. And the way that I set mine up was I tried to set the holes up as easy as possible, so people were scoring. But I think that's something that was killer for the World Championships too. Was everybody was there, just having a great time, man. I mean, I remember meeting all these guys, and it was just, I don't know, I had a blast with it. That's what I wanted to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I stayed at actually Vinny's brother's house out there, and I just never got used to the humidity, and I was pretty miserable like the whole time we were out there. I'm sure you remember the weather. It was just, you live in North Carolina, it probably doesn't bother you nearly as much as it bothers me, because I live in like the driest spot ever. So.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I don't remember the weather being too terribly bad. I remember that course being hard as hell though for a birdie bash.
Coldbrook? Oh yeah.
That course was legit, man. I mean, I was like, wow. Actually, the guy that won my birdie bash here in Charlotte, Steve Belair, he actually placed second at the World Championships. And then he is actually now sponsored by Prodigy. He's actually running. So you may bump into him on the road sometime down there. But so let me ask you this, man. I mean, to me, based upon what I see on just what you've done so far this year, I mean, you've got 2 first-place finishes. You've got 5 top 10 finishes. I mean, that's a great start to the year. What else are you wanting to do this year as far as tournaments? What other tournaments are you going to?
I'm playing state doubles this weekend with a buddy of mine that I've been playing with, for a few years now. He was actually one of the few people that competed with me really well in the advanced division. Then I'm playing, I believe, Colorado States after that.
Okay.
So that might be in September.
Are you going to be able to make it out to Vibram Open?
I don't believe I have a qualifying spot. I would have to get on the wait list, and it's a lot of planning. So I probably am not going to be able to make it this year, but I do have a lot of goals for next year in terms of touring.
Okay, so let's talk about those, man. What are you trying to do to get on the road? I mean, obviously we've got the Vibram family out there listening, so I'm sure we can find some couches for you to crash on if that's one of the things that you need.
I'm just trying to put some things in the works right now. I've looked into possibly buying a school bus and working with that.
Nice.
I haven't really talked much to Vibram about that yet.
Started the right color.
Yeah, it's a perfect color, but yeah. I'm just trying to really follow that whole pro tour and the world tour if I can. Well, I mean, as much as everyone wants to go play in Finland, it's just a matter of logistics if it works financially for me or not. So
yeah, that makes sense.
But I thought it'd be a great project to build out a bus, regardless. So
yeah, that would be sweet. There's no doubt about that. So what when you're sitting there looking at your bag, I know it's probably sitting right next to you. If there was a disc that you could have in that bag that Vibram doesn't have available for you right now, what would you want to see from the brand?
Here it comes.
Are you asking if I'm throwing plastic? Is that what you're asking?
I'm not. I could care less if you're throwing plastic. Personally, I'm just asking. What would you like to see from the brand?
I have a Firebird in my bag, and that's about it. I'm waiting for a couple Crags to replace my Justices, and other than that, I am full Vibram.
Okay.
Obviously, I'd like to see Ascents and Tracks made again, but I know the new molds are pretty similar to them. Just because I haven't dabbled with them yet doesn't mean they're not good.
Right.
I'm sure I'll eventually run out of stock and, be forced to do that. Or maybe Vibram will just twist my arm and make me do it anyways. Who knows? I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't be willing, but um,
So with the crag coming out, are you? I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the podcast, but I know that Jeff had mentioned that it's coming out in firm. Is that something that makes you happy, or would you rather see it in medium?
so I had a chance to play a round with Jeff a couple weeks ago, and he had a beautiful crag in his bag, an American flag crag in firm, and I got to flick it on him,
Flag Crag.
give it a few, pulls, and I actually really like the feel of it for my forehand, which is generally what I use a Justice for. It's just my utility mid-range, so
It was
I'm really looking forward to the replacement.
it was a firm one.
I believe it was a firm, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a flat top? Because he said he had a flat top and a normal in his bag.
I don't know. I
Okay.
only threw the one, so
Okay. All
I
right,
couldn't
that's
tell you.
fair. That's fair. That's fair. Well, he mentioned briefly, and I got my balls busted for not asking him about it later. People were like, "You didn't ask about the flat top crag." I totally went by me. So I figured I'd throw it out there to see if you had any insider information. I saw Brian, you peeked one up there, so go ahead and show us what you got.
Good.
That flat top crag is a one of one. That was made. I think that was the first disc off the mold before the mold was modified.
Okay.
So I don't know that there's any others that exist.
Well, we might have to track Jeff down and borrow a disc. So what was that you flashed up? You flashed up a disc and then you hit it again. You got to talk so you grab the screen again.
Crag. Here you go.
Bam.
So flag.
Yeah, that's nice, man. I like when they do stuff like that. It was funny. I talked to a buddy of mine that does a lot of disc dyes and plastics, and I was talking to him today, and he's like, the reason why I never dyed Vibram is that they have multicolor. And I'm like, dude, they've ran nothing but solids for like the past year and a half. Where you been? Oh, I didn't know that. So now you got a guy going out and picking up. I told him, I said, go buy all the damn solids so we can get some multicolor back on the shelf. They'll order them and bring them back out. So I saw that you've got a lot of multicolor in your bag, Evan. Is that pretty standard? You like to find something funky? Do you look for I know you said bright colors, but do you try to find something a little funky, or you just grab whatever?
No, I like my patterns for sure. Again, just bright colors, but yeah, I don't really have any solid color anythings in my bag. Nothing new round in that sense. My lace is my most basic colored disc. That's just that light blue lace way
Okay.
back.
Okay.
Just, yeah. Nothing crazy, but that's my really old one that I've had a long time. But
Are you?
yeah,
What would you say your favorite mold is, man? What if you had to pick one of that you have? What is your favorite mold?
I mean, my ridge is my favorite.
Okay.
Like, my putter's always my favorite.
That's
He
fair.
broke the pattern for us.
Yeah, he
What?
did. He broke the pattern for sure. Most people,
Yep.
everybody else, been saying Ibex.
We're just waiting for
Yeah.
Ibex.
I do throw the Ibex a lot, but I could probably do a lot of what I do with just ridges.
That's pretty awesome.
That's
So
respect.
what ridges are you throwing?
I got 3. I got you guys might remember that one.
Ooh.
That's my main putter. That's the pre-PDGA. Butt crack, just pink on the back there, and then 10.65.
That was
And
cool.
yeah, those are my
all
3
firms.
ridges. All firm, yep.
So let me ask you this, man. You got a lot of killer courses, you said, around Colorado. If you had to name one course as your home course, what would be your home course? Obviously, the one that's 100 yards away from you, but I didn't catch the name. I wanted Want to jot it down.
It's called Nottingham.
Okay.
Nottingham Park. It's just a 9-hole with disc catchers. You know, perfect little park course, mowed grass. You know, stuff that you don't usually get to see in Colorado. Has a soccer field right in the middle of it that you can just practice.
That's
So
cool. That's
yeah.
cool. What would you say your favorite course is? If you know had to pick a course over time, what would you say your favorite one has been?
Um, in Colorado, I would say probably Empire. Um, also, it might be called Easter Seals on Disc Golf Scene. I'm not sure what they have it listed under. It's a 27-hole private course. It's on a camp for children with special needs.
Okay.
And so, you know, $5 to play, and you know, your money is going to a great cause. And
Mhm.
you know, it's an excellent course. Like, it's probably one of the harder courses I've ever played. And you know, I've been around a little bit. So
Yeah. Yeah. What's your thoughts on the pay to play concept in general? Is that something that you're supportive of, or do you feel like we need to keep disc golf as a free sport in free parks?
you know, I think we need our free courses, but I think the pay to play is a good option to have, especially at areas like we have quite a few golf courses in Colorado that are starting to work with us now. Uh, a course over in Leadville just put in 9 holes, and it's like a par 33. It's like they're all really long, but you get a cart for $10 and you can play it twice. And you know, they all the golf course rules apply. You know, they have beer and cart girls and on all that on the middle of the course to.
That's got to be a different experience coming from, walking around toting all your stuff and then boom, you're on a cart with a cart girl. That's crazy.
Oh, it's great on my ankle.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. I'm
Place.
sure. So have you found that, you brought the ankle back up? So are you doing more standstill throws because of that, or are you still doing your heavy approach?
No, I generally always step into throws, whether a slow X step or a fast X step. You know, if I'm going for distance, it's more of a running X step, like a 5 or 6 step. And if I'm just, you know, approaching with a putter, it's just like a 2-step X step.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So what kind of advice would you give to, these new guys coming in, trying to come up through the amateur ranks and get into, basically doing the same thing you did, grinding it and on their local scene and then trying to get to where they can tour. What's the advice that you'd give to those guys out there?
Um, Practice every day. Um, you know, it takes a lot, and you know, I even find that I'd like to be practicing more than I can, and you know, I probably get an hour a day to play. Um, you know, I can walk over and putt or play 3 9 holes in an hour over there.
Yeah.
Um, you know, that park next to my house, nothing's longer than 240 feet, so I don't really get to open up over there. But it's done wonders for my short game, and
Mhm.
honestly, I would say, yeah, don't focus on your distance, don't focus on that, just focus on consistency and getting a smooth throw. You know, a lot of people can probably make it look like they throw it half as hard and twice as far. So,
Yeah, no
Mhm.
kidding, man. That's the thing that I've noticed with you pros out there that have the big distance. You make it look effortless. And to be honest with you, I found it to be a thing of beauty. Like it's absolutely beautiful to see you guys do this huge reach back and it just come through so smooth. Just like, oh, it's just, I don't know, man. It still fascinates me. Is this something that just came natural for you over time, or was it something that you really had to grind at to get good at distance?
so I was predominantly like a forehand player when I started. All I did was flick. So, that I only learned my backhand 3 years ago. Um,
Okay.
so I would just say, just again, it's repetition, it's muscle memory, it's you know, just going out and doing it a lot.
So you found that this repetition and getting your grind on it, has that increased your ace count? When was your last ace?
Oh, man. Almost last weekend, I hit 2 baskets, chained out of one, and skipped off the top of one, both in the same round. That was that would have been nice. So I've actually never had a tournament ace. Um, all my aces have been in leagues and in casual rounds with friends. Um,
They still count, man.
They do.
And they still feel good. Although I've never had a tournament ace, but I can imagine a tournament ace has got to be like, it's got to be up there, right?
yeah, I'm sure it's exciting. I've been waiting, and I've come home with big ace pots, but never a tournament ace. I have 27 aces if I don't include Nottingham in my count.
Oh, wow. Okay. How many if you do include Nottingham?
Oh,
Countless?
58.
Oh, wow. Nice, man.
Wow.
Nice. So you've got Nottingham pretty much down then. So that's really got to help with your short game.
Yeah, like I said, nothing's longer than 240, and it's all just beautiful mowed grass. You can kind of work on whatever you want to work on. And I mean, there's holes as short as 120 feet. Like there's short holes, so there's a lot of them where you're like, oh, I don't really feel like counting that like an ace because it just feels like a chip shot. But
It's okay. My aces are chip shots.
Some of the old school guys back in the day, that's how courses were. They were all that short, and they were getting those chip shot aces, right? So I don't know if I should count it or shouldn't. So I've signed my disc on 27 aces. We'll put it that way.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Do you retire a disc once you ace with it, or do you keep throwing it?
I've never retired an ace disc.
So what disc that you own has the most aces?
Oh, it's not Vibram.
Yeah.
Is it the Firebird?
That is the Firebird, yeah. And I want to say my my one that I don't have in the bag anymore that's gone had like 5 on it. But the mold itself is probably responsible for almost half my aces.
So you didn't find the notch to work for your forehand like the Firebird then, huh?
So the first time I ever got to touch a notch was actually at the Vibram Birdie Bash World Championships, and it was that glow one, and I really didn't like the feel of it. I'm pretty sure it's just the glow plastic. Obviously I really like the feel of the rubber, but it's just I found it just to be almost like oily or something, just not for me.
Yeah,
So.
That's fair. That's fair. And you just haven't picked up another one, huh? So if we got you a couple firm notches or a couple medium notches to scratch on, you think you might be able to throw that Firebird somewhere else, or you think we need something more stable to pull that Firebird out of the bag?
I just want to see how the notches compare in distance. I know they're a couple speeds down from the Firebird, so I'm just wondering if I can really throw them as far as still, I guess.
Yeah. Is Firebird 9 or 10 speed? I can't remember.
It's 9. Yeah. I think it's a 9304.
Let me check.
Yeah. 9304.
Okay. What do we have the notch at, Brian? Is that something we've got public yet? The speed on the notch?
Yeah, all the placards went out to retailers yesterday.
Okay.
With all the speeds on the discs. It is. I think it's 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I could see where you're coming from there. Then that could be a big difference in distance, especially when the forehand snap. Right. That's what most of the folks out there are saying. The snap of the forehand is still a little bit tougher to battle against. But that's okay. We've got it coming, right, Brian? We've got some 9 through 11s coming, right?
Maybe.
All right, that's fair. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. So Evan, I know we've been on here a little while. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? Anybody that helped you coming up that you want to give some special thanks to before we get signed off and kind of finalize things here tonight?
Uh, you know, my parents, obviously, they've been very supportive. They still live down in Denver. I stay with them for a lot of the tournaments that I go to down there. Very active with them. My buddy Adam, he caddies for me half the year. Just comes to random events with me. Doesn't really like to play as many tournaments as he likes to just be on the scene. So,
That's all
but
right.
yeah, but he's a really supportive guy, and he's like a master chef. So he's always making me delicious food too. So I can never say no to Adam. The whole Flying Eagle Disc Society is really supportive, and they're a great club. So, huge shout out to them as well.
What tag are you holding right now?
Oh, I think I'm holding like the 18. I gave away the number 1 last week. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. So, Tom, any final thoughts from you, man? Anything you want to throw out there that you want to pick Evan's brain on? I know you typically have a throwing question.
I guess it's not so much a question, but more of a compliment. My thing, maybe as my nickname would indicate, is keeping a good mental head. And I have to say, I'm not just blowing smoke, but I sincerely appreciate your approach to just the whole way your game seems to have been put together. I'll be honest, I just met you tonight. But yeah, I mean, you seem like a laid back, chill, like I'm not the type of dude who's going to blow up. You mentioned Mitch had just a great perception of you to be like, yeah, like here I am dinking these putts off. And, you just came off a nasty 7. And you're like, yeah, like I just have to say I appreciate how well it seems like you keep your head together. It's got to be a competitive advantage when you got people kicking bags or just melting down or having a problem. And it's just like, yeah, I'm just going to keep coasting by. I'm just going to downshift and walk right past you because like that was one shot ago. I'm not going to let that ruin the rest of my round. So I just have to applaud you, Evan, because I appreciate people who can keep a level head. That's awesome, man.
Appreciate that, Tom.
The thing that I'm seeing here week after week, meeting with all you guys, the Vibram folks out there, the sponsored players out there, every single one of you is a class act. Yeah. And I love that, man. And I haven't actually met you guys before. Well, Evan, I met you and I met Chase but it's not like I know you, right? So my thing is to see the team that we have out there representing the Vibram family. We may not be top 10 rated, but we've got some serious talent out there that is really promoting the sport in the right way, which is the most important part of this whole thing in my mind, right? And to me, I think that's huge, man. So I applaud you for sure, for exactly like Tom said. I'm proud to say that I'm associated with you, even indirectly through the Vibram group, and just the fact that we both love the same brand and are promoting the same brand. I think that's huge. So yeah, kudos for sure, man, for sure. Brian, any final thoughts from you, man, before we sign off and let Evan think about snowboarding?
Just to reiterate what Tom said, Evan, we met at the Birdie Bash World Championships, and it was awesome. And I can't wait to see you one day play Maple Hill because I will be there spectating. That's for sure.
Really looking forward to that course.
Yeah. And we're going to get you some crags soon, along with everybody else.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So I'll go ahead and close us out for the night. Again, Evan, thank you for joining us. And everybody in the Vibram family, if you joined us live tonight or you're rewatching it later on down the road, thank you for taking the time, listening to Evan's story. He's a great guy. You see him out on the tour, make sure to support him. If he needs a little love or a couch to crash on, please open your doors to this kid and let him come in and spend some time with you and your families. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night. Continue to throw them straight, and I hope your next round is your best round.